So we don't want to keep you guys all day.
Yep.
So we have our keynote speaker. So Drew Manning's here, and he's going to share. I'll let him kind of tell his story. He's an inspiration to me. I kind of followed him in his journey, and I was kind of joking with people. I mean, he'll tell you kind of his story of the first phase and the second phase. And I was joking with people, if you want to come for the first half, I mean, he'll just show you how you can gain a lot of weight, and then you can. Part 2 will be a different week. So, but now we'll have him tell his experience, and in fact, at the end of this, we're going to have a drawing for a whole bunch of stuff. We've got signed copies of Drew's book, we have copies of Joe's book, and we have some other stuff too. And so I'll pass around a little an entry form as Drew starts, and at the end we'll collect all those, and you can win some cool stuff. So.
Yeah, and then I think also we're going to do some of my shakes, which have been featured on a couple of shows. So stay around if you're hungry. I have a few samples of some good tasting shakes that are actually good for you as well. Really quick, I actually want to thank Tracy, Dr. Gibbs. He's awesome. I could actually listen to him speak all day. Yeah, honestly, Dr. Gibbs, if I have questions, he's the man I go to. I actually believe in everything he preaches. He's a purist. The connection between us is he actually formulated my supplements. So that's who I went to when I wanted to do my own line of supplements. I went to him, told him exactly what I wanted, told him what I didn't want, and he's the brains behind it, and he's the guy that I trusted to put the right things in my supplements, because I'm very careful about what I put into my body, and so is he, obviously, to the extreme even. I'm not there yet, but hopefully one day I can be comfortable with not wearing deodorant, especially at speaking engagements like this. But anyways, how many here have heard of Fit2Fat2Fit? Okay, so pretty much everyone. Okay, I will try not to spend too much time on going over exactly what Fit2Fat2Fit is, but for those who haven't, this first beginning part is mostly for those who do not know what Fit2Fat2Fit is or what I did. For everyone else, just bear with me, relive it, the experience. It's kind of funny. Hopefully watching it doesn't give you any cravings for some bad food. But let me show you guys a couple pictures really quick to kind of tell the story in a nutshell. On May 7th, 2011, this was me. And, I'll admit I was in pretty good shape. But, and you guys are going to roll your eyes, I was the type of person that could look at this picture and critique it and say, yeah, I'm in shape, but I could do better. I could be in better shape. I was one of those people that really was obsessed with being fit and the way I looked. And so that's what kind of led me to this whole Fit2Fat2Fit journey and why I did this. But I'll get into more about the specifics of that a little bit later on. But 6 months later, this was me. Go to the next slide. Yep. So that's me, about 75 pounds heavier in 6 months' time. And I know looking at these pictures, you would think, why would someone do that? They would obviously have to be crazy to do that to their body. And yeah, I'll admit, it did take a little craziness to do what I did. But it was something that I felt like I needed to do. And I'll explain a little bit why, but I kind of want to have Robin Roberts from Good Morning America kind of share what Fit2Fat2Fit is, and so you guys can kind of get the specifics of what the journey entailed.
Drew Manning was a personal trainer with abs. Now, thanks to a steady diet, donuts, corn dogs, this fitness buff has gone from lifting weights to gaining weight, packing on more than 70 pounds on purpose. And what he says is an attempt to help others get in shape. Drew and his lovely wife Lynn will join us live in just a moment. They're right over there in the studio. Hi, guys. But first, a look back at Drew's journey from fit to fat. Meet Drew Manning, a self-proclaimed fitness addict who has dedicated his life to working out and eating healthy. So, why is this personal trainer almost 80 pounds overweight? This was him back in May.
I've always been the fit guy. So to better understand what some of my clients go through, I decided to let myself go for 6 months. No exercise, unrestricted diet.
25 weeks ago, Drew had a 34.5-inch waist, 17-inch neck, and weighed 193 pounds. Today, he has a 47.5-inch waist, 19-inch neck, and weighs a hefty 269 pounds. With the support of his wife, Lynn, he has documented his weight gain on his website through weekly weigh-ins, photos, blogs, and videos.
This week, corn dogs is what you guys want to see me eat.
In just the first month, Drew gained an astounding 21 pounds.
This right here wasn't there. I wasn't there before. I just walked up the stairs, so I'm a little bit out of breath.
And as the weeks progressed, the weight took a heavy toll.
It's already really hard, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I doubt, what am I doing? Are you crazy?
It affected all aspects of his health.
My glucose levels were high, my blood pressure was off the charts. So it's getting a little scary.
Everyday tasks became a struggle.
You have these rolls of fat like everywhere, kind of impeding you from, being able to tie your shoes.
His once Adonis-like figure replaced by a much larger physique.
So that puts me up at like 76 pounds almost, which is unbelievable.
Now begins the real challenge, the journey to reclaiming his former fit self.
Okay, go back to the PowerPoint. Awesome. So basically what I did in 6 months' time is what a lot of people do over years and years of their life. Like they'll gain maybe 5 pounds a year. Over 10 years is about 50 pounds or so. In 6 months' time, I put on over 75 pounds at my heaviest. And so just to recap what she said was, can you go to the one afterwards? It was 6 months of no exercise, which was hard for me because I was obsessed with exercising, working out, eating right, and then I could eat whatever I wanted. And I'm not going to lie, the first 2 months, they were hard and they were easy in two different ways. What I mean by that, it was hard to not exercise. And I know you guys are thinking, that doesn't make any sense. It's easy not to exercise. It was hard for me mentally not to go to the gym, not to go out running, because it was the middle of summer. It was May. And, my kids wanted to play outside, and I wanted to work out. But at the same time, it was easy because you could eat whatever you wanted. It was fun. For the first 2 months, being able to go to the grocery store, skip the produce section, go straight to the boxed cereal section and the granola bars and the soda. I'd never really done that in my life, where I skipped the produce section and just went to all the boxed goodies at the store. It was fun. It was kind of, relieving in a little bit. I've never been that relaxed when it came to this. But as the time went on, it did become harder, just because, like you saw in the video, as I gained more weight, even though in week 8, I didn't look fat. I could feel a difference already. The visceral fat was taking its toll. Bending over, tying my shoes, what became difficult. Walking up the stairs, snoring became an issue about 2.5 months into this journey. Those kinds of things affected me very, very quickly. And the biggest surprise was how much it affected me from a mental perspective, being out in public. That was hard to go from being the fit guy out in public to now I was the overweight guy that was self-conscious, who would wear very loose clothing. And that was hard to deal with. And I'm 2 months into it, I'm like, this is going to be a long 6 months, because already I was starting to feel that way, and I knew it was only going to get worse. So basically, the original idea, I was going to do it for a whole year. I was going to get fat for a whole year, and thank goodness I have my wife, Lynn, who's the brains in our family, and talked me into only doing it for 6 months. So I thank her all the time still to this day for talking me into only doing it for 6 months. And then the next 6 months I was going to dedicate to now walking the walk and putting myself through the meal plans and the workouts that I had used on clients. And before I get into the why, I want to tell you guys a little bit of background about myself. So I grew up in a family of 11 brothers and sisters, 8 boys, 3 girls. All the guys, we played sports growing up. For me, it was football and wrestling. We lived in San Diego as a kid, and I was outdoors all the time, so I was always in shape. I never knew what it was like to let myself go, or to struggle with weight, or to struggle with cravings. For me, it was easy to be fit. And the way I compare it in my book is I talk about being on top of a mountain. And when you're always fit, you're kind of on top of this mountain. And as a personal trainer, I became a personal trainer, you're looking down on others that are trying to get to the top. And from the top, it's so easy to tell people, look, just go here, do this. This is all you have to do to get to here. But for those people, it's a struggle to get to the top. Whereas when you're always there, you don't know any different. And so it's easy for you. And so when I would train clients, there was that disconnect between me and that mentality of, look, it's easy, just do it. That's all you have to do. There was that disconnect where I would become frustrated when they would say, well, I can't give up my cereal. I can't, I love my Pepsi. I got to have my soda every day. I can't not have that. And all I would think to myself is, look, all you have to do is eat healthy and exercise. This isn't that hard. But if it was easy, everyone would do it, and all of us would be fit and healthy and skinny. But it's not easy. It's simple. You eat healthy and you exercise, but it's not easy. And so that's what I needed to learn. So that's what led me up to this whole Fit2Fat2Fit idea. Why would I want to do this? I felt like as I trained my clients, maybe I was the one who needed to learn something because of the way I was looking at it from such a black and white mentality. I felt like there was something that I needed to learn. And so for myself, I decided this Fit2Fat2Fit idea of getting fat on purpose and then losing it would hopefully give me a better perspective. So that was the number one reason I did it, was to gain a better understanding. Now, I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea and think, okay, he did this and now he thinks that he knows what it's like. There's no way I'll ever know. Whether I did this for 10 years or if I gained 100 or 200 pounds, there's no way I'd ever know exactly what it was like to be overweight. But for me, myself, I would at least gain a better understanding. The second reason was it was my hope to inspire people in a weird, backwards kind of way to not do what I was doing on purpose. Does that make sense? And in a weird way, it did. Thousands of people all over the world followed this journey and would write me emails and tell me how inspiring it was to see someone that looked like that to gain the weight by eating the same foods that they were eating. And they found it inspiring, and that's what my hope was, that people would look at this from that experience and say, wow, okay, it's not just genetics, he's eating the same foods I'm eating, and look, he gained 76 pounds. I think it kind of woke them up. And yeah, it took a little bit of craziness to catch their attention at first, but then once they saw why I was doing it, that's, I think, where it became inspiring to so many people. And then also the third reason was I wanted to show people how unhealthy the typical American diet is, or the S.A.D diet. Because a lot of us have seen Super Size Me, right? You guys have seen Super Size Me? Great documentary. What did he eat for was it a month, 30 days? McDonald's for, I think it was 3 times a day for 30 days. And yeah, he almost died, right? he got very sick. I didn't want to focus so much on the fast food. I think all of us know that's bad for you. I wanted to focus on the everyday processed foods that we eat that we don't think are that unhealthy. Things like white breads, white pastas, the sugary, the refined sugars that are in a lot of our foods, like Dr. Gibbs talked about, high fructose corn syrup, a lot of things that we don't think are that unhealthy. Those are the things that I wanted to focus on for these 6 months. So I want to kind of go over a little bit of what I ate and to show you guys like a typical day. And I'll show a 60-second clip because I documented this whole journey. I show people like my daily journals of what I ate, so they could kind of see as I went. Yeah, it should be right there.
Under the gallery.
Yep, it's right there. Yeah. Perfect. So this is a typical day for me. Back then. There we go.
Here's my breakfast.
Fruit Loops.
Cereal. My first snack, granola bar and some non-diet soda. A few onion rings. Some spaghetti for lunch. Some garlic bread and juice. Here's a couple cookies. And a few M&Ms. It's a peanut butter sandwich. Just grilling 2 burgers for dinner. There's a small plate of cookies. Don't worry, I'm not eating that whole thing. Just a few.
Here's the funny thing is that a lot of people might look at that and be like, wow, that's a lot of food. And people would ask me, did you stuff your face till you were sick every meal during those 6 months? And honestly, I tell people no. Like, I ate when I was hungry and I stopped when I was full. And that might seem like a lot of food, but it's because the lack of nutrients in our food is what's causing us to be overweight. I say to a lot of people all the time, someone that's obese is starving in a way. They're being overfed but undernourished. So I could eat a whole bowl of Fruit Loops, which looks like a lot, but an hour later I'm starving again because of what it does. Because the food is not nutrient dense, so I'm not full for very long. So I could eat that food all day long, and that's what caused me to gain all that weight. But at the same time, I was always starving, and so it's because of those types of foods. When we get into whole foods, like Dr. Gibbs was talking about, that's what keeps you feeling fuller longer versus like a huge bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch or a big plate of cookies at the end of the day. So it's funny how Mountain Dew, Zingers, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, those were my 3 favorite foods. And in the beginning, I didn't like soda. I wasn't a big fan of soda, but my clients would tell me I have to have soda every day. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what you guys do. I'm going to drink soda every day, whether I liked it or not. By the end, I was addicted to Mountain Dew. I couldn't go a day without it. If I didn't have it twice a day, I would get the headaches, I would get grumpy, I would get moody, and so I had to have my Mountain Dew. Every time I went to a gas station, it was Zingers and an energy drink, because Zingers, they're tasty. You guys know what those are? They're so good, but they're so bad for you. But it became a habit. Every time I went to a gas station, I would go inside, I'd get Zingers and an energy drink. And by the end, the 6 months, I didn't have to think about it so much. It would be a habit to go into a gas station and get those things. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you saw me eating Fruit Loops there. By far, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is my favorite cereal, or was my favorite cereal. So I have not, honestly, I've not had Cinnamon Toast Crunch since this, because I know it's one of my trigger foods and I'll want to eat the whole box. You can't have a box just sitting there and limit it to 3/4 cup serving size. There's no way you can. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of willpower. But those kinds of foods became my addiction during those 6 months, and that's what I attribute those 6 months, or those 76 pounds to, where it was because of this type of food. And obviously I wasn't exercising, which played into it as well. And you guys did see me eating the corn dogs and the hamburgers. The reason I had that in there was for entertainment purposes. How many of you guys have seen Man vs. Food, the TV show? That show makes me hungry. So I can't, watching these clips, my hope was that we didn't all get hungry watching me eat that big, huge cheeseburger. But once a week, I would have my followers vote on what food challenge they would have me do, and I would do a Man vs. Food thing. So one week it was corn dogs, one week it was, donuts, hamburgers, cake. There's some crazy, some crazy challenges that I had to do, but that was for entertainment. The other 6.5 days, I was eating those foods that I was talking about. So this Dr. Oz clip, I was able to go on the Dr. Oz show. Before we push play, I want to tell a little bit about what Dr. Oz is going to talk about. Obviously, there were some medical issues with what I was doing, and I knew the risks going into this. My blood pressure got up to 167 over 113. I had a doctor monitor me throughout this whole journey to make sure, I wasn't going to die. But things did get pretty scary towards the end, and Dr. Oz did his own blood work on me. But the thing I wanted to say really quick is his producers challenged him to do something similar to me. They challenged him to do a 30-day mini Fit2Fat2Fit challenge where he would eat unhealthy for 30 days. And he declined to do it. He refused to do it because he knew what would happen to him from a medical perspective, emotional. He's like, there's no way I could do this and do the show at the same time. And so it was pretty interesting, but he'll talk about that a little bit in the video clip. So let's watch this. Sorry.
I played it on mute the first time.
It's okay. Is the internet working? Okay.
Soft gels, 36% smaller.
Maybe we'll let you mute it out.
Nature-Made full strength minis, made to higher standards. Yours. Learn more at naturemade.com.
Supposed to pop up because I pushed play and then it did the clip again.
You said
Yeah.
Nature-Made said, here's something easier. New full
Here,
strength
let me-
minis. Multivitamin soft gels, 36% smaller. One per day. Nature-Made full strength minis, made to higher standards. Yours. Learn more at naturemade.com.
Yeah, just give it a second.
Guess it's just loading.
Yeah.
You guys skip it.
Okay. While that is, see if it loads. If it loads in the next little bit, we'll play it. If it doesn't, then I'll just tell you what happened. I'll try and reenact it for you guys. So basically, the whole importance of the Dr. Oz show was how eye-opening it was to me. Even though I kind of knew what I was doing, and I could see what was happening on the outside. I could see, the man boobs. I could see the love handles. I could see the big gut, and I could feel the difference. But from a medical perspective, I couldn't tell what I was doing to my kidneys. I couldn't tell what I was doing to my liver. And a lot of people don't. As they start to gain weight, they just see what's happening on the outside. They don't see what they're doing to their organs. And so going on the show, to see Dr. Oz kind of show me exactly what was happening to my organs and what would happen if I continued to live that lifestyle was very eye-opening to me and so many other people as I was gaining this weight. It was definitely scary. It opened up my eyes. Luckily, this was like towards the end. I only had like a week left of my Fit2Fat2Fit journey. I don't know why it's not working. That's weird.
Reload the whole page.
Yeah, push. Yeah, it might just be the internet. Or unless they have a filter, then they don't allow Dr. Oz clips on their filter. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see if it pops up.
We'll do a commercial again. And we'll see.
Oh, there we go. Push play real quick. Yeah. Oh, dang it. Okay, see if it goes to it, but push mute. So anyways, luckily this was towards the very end of my journey. I only had a week left to go, and my doctor he wanted to put me on blood pressure medication because my blood pressure was very, very high. But I told him, look, I don't want to. Oh, I'll get back to that. He turned up.
We don't have your starting blood tests. You don't have statistics done at that time. So we're going to assume you were pretty healthy because you look like you did when you first started this all. So how about we look at this? I got some organs for you.
Sure.
And I think this will bring it clear. We started you at 193 pounds. Is that right?
Yep.
That's the first measurement you made about 6 months ago.
Correct.
Right. And that's your body mass index calculation, therefore, is 24.8, which is normal. And for guys muscular as you are, you didn't have any excess fat on you.
Yeah.
So go ahead and put these gloves on. I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to give you your vitals today.
Okay.
So your body mass index now is 34.
Really? 34 from 24 point?
Yes. You're obese.
Wow.
Not overweight, obese.
Okay.
And at risk for major complications.
Okay.
I'm going to walk you through what those complications are.
Okay.
Liver function. The normal numbers we look for liver function tests is an enzyme value less than 40. Okay? A month ago, yours was 66. That means your liver has been beaten up so much by the standard American diet, the S.A.D diet, that it has actually been tortured into submission and now is suffering. It's inflamed.
Okay.
It almost certainly has fatty infiltrates. Let me show what that looks like on the inside. This is what your liver normally looks like. It's your largest organ. So I would have cut it through here like this and give you little slices of it. This is what it looked like 6 months ago.
Okay.
This is what it looked like
Now.
the last month.
Really?
excessive amounts of fat stored in there, when you're heading towards cirrhosis, these numbers stay that way.
Well,
Now, the good news is you still have the opportunity to turn that back around. And something else, we have some numbers on your kidney function from a month ago.
Okay.
And there's a number we use to figure out how well the kidney's filtering fluids. You want the number to be a big number?
Yeah.
All right. Your GFR, which is the number we use, is normally above 80. Today it's 72, but it's been hurt. And here's again, the kidney normally looks like this. It's just plump, almost. I call it voluptuous. You may have a different term for it, but it's just full. It's robust. It looks like it could filter. Let me show you what happens to the kidneys after high blood pressure, scarring, and obesity.
really?
So here's the aorta, right? You see the inside's gotten disease like this? You see the plaque in there?
Yeah.
And these plaques go to the kidneys and they kill the kidneys.
That's scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
So what you've done for 6 months, and this is why I was so fearful of doing it. I mean, I don't remember having a fight this big a fight anyway with my staff.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could do the show if I did what you were doing.
Yeah.
And after seeing you, I'm concerned. And with Linda's testimonial over there, I'm really concerned over that.
Yeah.
So this is bad stuff. And I must say, I commend you. You risked your life to make the point. But the question is, what else have you learned about yourself, about this diet, about what you want to share? Now you've been.
You can stop it right there.
What do you want to share with me?
So basically, as you guys, hopefully you guys can see from what I saw, it was definitely very eye-opening. I had no idea, it got that bad that quickly in 6 months' time. And a lot of people, like I said, don't do this in 6 months, but they do it over the years, which is even worse because it's slowly coming on and you don't feel those effects. I didn't feel like my kidneys were in bad shape. I didn't feel like my liver was, was a fatty liver. I didn't feel that. You don't feel that right away until all of a sudden you're diagnosed with something. And that's what was scary. The interesting thing was, like he talked about, your body is resilient. And I'll tell you just how resilient it is. So the second stage of it was Fat2Fit. On November 5th, 2011 was my first day of, now I had to walk the walk. I had to put myself through this Fat2Fit stage and actually do what I had preached to people to do for so long. And the first month, I decided not to do any exercise. I decided to skip exercise and just focus on eating clean for a whole month. I didn't starve myself. I didn't do a grapefruit juice diet or the cabbage diet. I did 5 meals a day, healthy, whole foods. I did get grains and dairy and sugar out of my diet those first 30 days. But the only things that I did is I would do stretching and a little bit of core, like plank and side plank, 5 minutes a day. And that's all I did for 1 month. And in 1 month time, my blood pressure, all my blood work went back to normal in just 1 month without any exercise, just eating clean. Because that's what I wanted to show people, was like, it's not so much your exercise, it's what you eat. And actually, according to Dr. Gibbs, what you assimilate, that makes all the difference. And if you want to see results, you have to get your eating down. And so that first month was amazing. I ended up losing 19 pounds on top of that, but more importantly, my blood work came back and at all normal levels, and I felt so much better already. But then I had to get into the working out part. And that's where things got hard because I was a confident person going back into the gym, or going into the gym normally before this, but now that I gained 70 pounds, or I lost 19 pounds of it, going back was scary. I was nervous. I was anxious. I wasn't the same confident person. I went back to the gym and struggled to do push-ups on my knees, having to use the assisted pull-up machine for the first time in my life. And just to feel that kind of sense of being judged at the gym, and not as a fit guy, but now being overweight, definitely changed my whole mentality and finally gave me that small glimpse of what it was like for my clients. I know they would have loved to be there for that first workout, yelling at me, pushing me, for a little bit of revenge. But it was super tough. It was humbling. If nothing else, it was definitely humbling to go through that. Obviously, you can see I did get back to fit, which was awesome, amazing. If you look at the beginning picture and the end picture, you could say physically not a whole lot changed, but I promise you inside, I'm a different man because of what I did. And I honestly have no regrets. Despite the little bit of stretch marks that I did get, I have no regrets for doing what I did because of the thousands of people that were inspired by what I did. And it's these types of people that are sending their success stories. There's two people here today. I won't say who, but you might recognize them on here. dozens more people sending their success stories to me from the meal plans and the workouts and embracing this whole lifestyle change that I preach on my website. So I documented my whole journey back to fit so people could follow me. I wanted people to do this with me. I had 70 pounds to lose, and I wanted to tell people, look, let's do this together. Here's how I'm going to lose the weight. Here's what I'm going to eat every single day. Here's my grocery list. Here's the recipes I'm making. Here's the workouts. Let's do this together. And so it was so cool to see people send in their stories from all over the world. And, they call themselves Team Drew now. So that right there makes all of what I did worth it, despite what some people might say, whether it's stupid, crazy, a gimmick or whatever. I just point people to this because this is the real story of Fit2Fat2Fit. It's not so much what I did that for me, but this is the real story of what I did and why I did it. How many of you guys, go to the next slide, how many of you guys know Chris Powell, Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition? Have you guys seen that show? Kind of like The Biggest Loser, but he takes one person and transforms them over a whole year of time. Anyways, I got the opportunity to work with him on an episode coming up this season. He's by far the most down-to-earth guy that I think you could meet in the business, super nice, and we had the chance to work together. So if you guys watch that show, check out season 3 coming up this summer. I'll be on one of the episodes, and hopefully there will be an opportunity to work with him in the future, but we'll see. I don't want to make any promises yet. But he definitely inspires me just because of who he is and the millions of people that he's inspired. It definitely is inspiration for me. Let me go to the next page. So what did I learn from all this? The single biggest lesson that I learned was that it's not so much just about the physical. It's not so much just about meal plans, exercises, supplements, do this, don't do that. The physical things are important. But if you don't know how to overcome the mental and emotional challenges that come with losing weight and changing your lifestyle, then it's just going to be another diet. To make it a lifestyle change, you have to know how to overcome things like cravings or lack of motivation or fear of judgment. There's so many other mental and emotional challenges that derail so many people when they try and make a lifestyle change. And if they don't know how to overcome them, then it is just another diet. They do it for a couple months, they lose some weight, then one day they lack motivation or, they're starving themselves and, they want something, they want a treat and they decide, this is too restrictive, I can't do this, and they don't know how to overcome those mental and emotional challenges. But that's the key to making it a lifestyle, and that's the biggest thing I took away from all this, was how much of this is mental and emotional. Kind of like what Joe talked about, doing that Navy SEAL training was incredible. And it's all just a bunch of physical things. But it's so much more mental because you want to quit so many times. But if you're not mentally tough, then no matter how physically strong you are, you're going to drop out. Just like like he talked about those guys in that group. Also, the other thing that was really surprising was how real food addiction and food cravings can be. I didn't know that. I thought my clients were just making excuses when they say, "Look, I can't give up my soda. I can't not eat my Cinnamon Toast Crunch." And until I experienced it firsthand, now I get it. Now I'm like, okay, I understand. I understand how hard it is now. And that's why you need to have things like a support system and accountability to overcome those types of cravings. But I'll get into that a little bit later. So it's that was really surprising how powerful this type of addiction is, because a lot of us don't think food is like a drug. We think, yeah, heroin, cocaine, that's addictive. Food, it's not addictive. But really, studies show it is just as addictive as drugs. But food is legal and it's cheap and it tastes really good. So, also, just to skip down, it's not so much the whole way Hollywood projects it, like things on The Biggest Loser, for example, or movies, or just the whole society is all about being either you're fat or you're skinny. And if you're skinny, you're healthy. If you're fat, you're unhealthy. And that's so wrong. I'm trying to get people to change that whole mentality of it's not just about being fat or skinny. It's about being medically healthy first. Just because you're skinny or just because you're losing weight does not mean you're becoming healthier. There's a lot of unhealthy ways to lose weight. Who knows one of them? Starvation. Yeah, does that mean you're becoming healthier if you starve yourself? You're skinny. No. I know so many guys that have come to me that have done like HCG where they eat 500 calories. They're like, yeah, I dropped like 40 pounds in 2 months. I'm like, that's great. And then they say, but then I looked in the mirror and I did not like what I saw because they lost muscle mass even though they lost 40 pounds. So just because you are skinny or you are losing weight, there's a lot of unhealthy ways to do it. So that's why I'm trying to get people to change that, not to focus on, okay, I'm fat or I'm skinny, I'm okay, I'm fat, I need to get skinny. It's about becoming medically healthy first, tackling things like metabolic syndrome, reducing like the heart disease rate, cancer, things that are preventable. That's what it's about first. And then weight loss and the six-pack abs, that will come over time. That'll be a byproduct of living that healthy lifestyle over time rather than just a 90-day diet or a 30-day cleanse and then you're done. That's not how it works. Like Dr. Gibbs talked about, it's a journey, it's not a destination. There is no finish line. So keep going, keep living the lifestyle is what I tell people. And it's not a diet. And that's my my phrase, I guess I tell people is it's a lifestyle. It has to be a lifestyle. It's not a diet. And that's the problem with our society is that we focus on, okay, what's the next diet? What's the next thing I can do to get in shape for summer? And it's tough to get people to change that mentality, but I think people are starting to educate themselves a little bit more now about that. So really quick, these are a few tips that I give people. If you guys want to write these down, there's psychological and there's physical. The psychological is the mental and emotional part, which is by far the most difficult. I talk about this in my book, publicly declaring your goals. How many of you guys have a Twitter account? Or just 2 people. Okay, 3 or 4. It's a powerful tool. Being out there on social media really is a powerful tool to keep you accountable. There's a couple programs that I've seen out there where part of the program is you have to take a picture of what you eat every day and post it out there on social media. And doing that keeps you accountable. If I didn't have the accountability, if I didn't have people knowing who I was, or this website, this would have been 100 times harder to do by myself. So publicly declaring your goals keeps you accountable, and because of that accountability, it kind of pushes you more, kind of like what that first Joe talked about. People run faster from a fire than towards a fire engine, so it's or a fire truck. So it's that fear that kind of motivates you, and that's good in the beginning. Next is to have a support system. You need someone to give you a kick in the butt every once in a while when you need it, but then also you need someone to give you belief, that believes in you and can give you that support when you need it. Also, a scale weight. I kind of hate scales because, like I said, they don't tell the whole story of what's going on. Muscle mass is more dense than fat, and as you become healthier, you're building more lean muscle mass, which in turn burns more fat. So someone that loses 40 pounds starving themselves, and someone that loses 40 pounds saying, doing CrossFit and is eating healthy whole foods, for example, there's going to be a difference in the way they look after those 40 pounds is lost, I guarantee it. And the scale doesn't always tell that, which is why I tell people you should measure yourself once a week, do measurements instead of scale weight, because that'll tell you more of what's going on and get you get your body composition done too, but not all of us have access to that. Next is to schedule breaks. So when I say it's a lifestyle, that doesn't mean you can't ever have cookies or cake or Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Mountain Dew. It doesn't mean you can't have those ever again. It's just knowing how to schedule them ahead of time. So okay, this Saturday I'm going to a birthday party. It's my kid's birthday. I'm not gonna not eat her cake because I don't do that stuff. It's about moderation, finding balance, but scheduling them in advance so you know ahead of time rather than just saying, I'm not preparing any of my food today, so I'm going to go out and eat whatever's closest to me. That's not the best thing to do. Keep tempting foods out of the house. This is more of a rule for me. If it's in the house, I'm going to eat it. That's why I don't let my wife, who, no offense, but she's a foodie, she'll go and buy like all the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and the soda, And if it's in the house, I honestly am going to eat it. So I know my weaknesses. And so that's why I do the grocery shopping. But she's thankful for that because she doesn't have to do it. And I do all the cooking as well. So it works out for both of us. You know, I get the healthy food in the house and not the temptation. And she doesn't have to cook. So it's a good trade-off. Also, you know, don't compare yourself to others. And this is a problem that, you know, even I have, but all of us do. It's human nature to compare yourself, saying, oh, look at that person. Why can't I look like that person? Or that person lost 7 pounds this week. I only lost 1. Or it's unmotivating to compare yourself to others all the time. Sometimes it can be inspiring, but at the same time, when you're doing it in a negative way, it needs to stop. And so it's tough because it's human nature, but it can be controlled, is what I'm saying. Okay, the physical things. Dr. Gibbs talked about this, low fat or non-fat. If it says that on there, then go ahead and get rid of it. Fat does not make you fat. Like what my doctor says, he says, fat on your lips does not equal fat on your hips. Same thing with eating cholesterol. Doesn't mean it's going to raise your cholesterol levels. Kind of like what Dr. Gibbs talked about, eating the whole egg rather than just the egg white. So just remember that. Just because someone says low fat, it usually means they take the fat out, but they add sugar. Look at fat-free yogurt, for example. Look how many grams of sugar are in fat-free yogurt. But a lot of people still think, oh, it's fat-free, so it's good for me. Prepare your foods in advance. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail pretty much. If you don't know what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it, it's so much easier to fall into the whole fast food temptation. Because I'll tell you, when I drove from Salt Lake City to Idaho, 3-hour drive for my medical job, it was so easy for me. If I didn't have food, all my options were gas station or fast food. And if I didn't have my meals prepared, I would have fallen into that trap because you don't want to starve yourself either. So definitely prepare your foods in advance. What we do is Sunday night and Wednesday night are our meal preparation nights, where we spend about an hour's time cooking our meats, cutting up our vegetables, getting our snacks ready for the next few days. And then for the next few days, we don't have to cook anymore because we've cooked everything. And then on Wednesday night, we do the same thing where we cook in bulk. So we have our food for the next 3 days. And I know it's hard at first, but once you do it, it'll save you time, it'll save you money, and it'll help with your goals as well. Most of you know this, stay on the outside of the grocery stores. Why? Because that's where all the fresh produce, the real food is. All the processed stuff is in the middle, if you haven't noticed that. Try and get some source of protein at every meal. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient versus fats and carbs. It's the most satiating, which means it keeps you fuller longer. So try and get some source of protein at every meal. That doesn't mean it has to be animal meat. It can be nuts, seeds. Some people do beans, or try and get some kind of protein at every meal. And then unlimited veggies. When I say veggies, I mean non-starchy vegetables. Stay away from, let's see, what are the top 3 vegetables consumed? It's corn, potatoes, and ketchup, I think, is the other one, right?
When they asked Americans what your top 3 favorite vegetables were, the top answers were corn, French fries, and ketchup.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Those are our favorite vegetables right there. But so when I say unlimited vegetables, I'm talking about the non-starchy stuff. So kale, spinach, broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, green beans, sugar snap peas, bell peppers, zucchini, squash, things like that. You don't have to worry about overeating too much broccoli. For the most part, no one's going to overeat broccoli or spinach. But you can have as much as you want. If you're starving, first, what I tell people is to increase your serving size or your portion size of your vegetables first. So instead of 1 cup of broccoli, eat 2 cups or 3 cups. And then if you're still hungry, then increase the portion size of your protein. Okay, that's pretty much it. Are there any questions before we start making shakes, or is everyone hungry and let's get some food in us? Because I'm hungry. Okay, no questions.
Your strength reduced dramatically. I mean, you had all the muscle to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I've always I never really saw on your website is, strength, because you had a lot of muscle mass and things like that. Did your muscle mass actually reduce?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Basically, for those who didn't hear, he asked if I lost some strength. And yes, I did. I lost about 5 pounds of lean muscle mass or so. Even though I got back to 193, I did lose about 5 pounds of lean muscle mass doing that, because it was 70 plus pounds in 6 months' time. I obviously had to sacrifice a little bit. But even after that, it took me a good 6 to 8 months afterwards to get to where I could do my normal 4 sets of like 12 or 15 pull-ups. I couldn't do that right away. Even though my weight was the same, my strength definitely took a hit, and it took me a good 6 months or so to get back to where my strength levels were. Mm-hmm.
My husband is looking to bulk.
Mm-hmm.
Do you offer suggestions if he were to, because he follows you.
Okay.
And so, I don't know, if he were to contact you through email or blog or whatever, would you be able to give him tips on that?
Yes, basically she asked if her husband he's looking to bulk. I was obviously looking to debulk. I have a lot of guys that reach out to me asking, how can I gain lean muscle mass? And although my meal plans and workouts are customized towards me losing weight, I definitely offer that advice because I've actually put on about 6 pounds of muscle since I was done with my journey. I felt too skinny. Even though I met that weight criteria, I felt too skinny. And so I felt like I wanted to put on some lean muscle mass. It's definitely, it's tough to do, but it's definitely possible. And so, yeah, if he emails me, I have business cards on the back table, and I'll write my email address up here. I'm totally open to answering anybody's questions through email, and that's basically what I do full time now, is answer people's questions.
Let's give a big warm thank you.